Well, hello, precious friends. How are y'all doing today? I hope that every one of you are doing great, and I really appreciate you coming by to see me again. Now, today's video is going to be long and soothing, and I'm going to kind of give you a little chit chat and tell you what's going on. I'm going to show you another one of our mystery woman Mayell Sunshine's dresses. I'm going to read one of her letters. You have to stick around for that because it's a good one. And then I'm also going to do a mail call, and I've got 2 boxes that I received in the mail. And I want to show you what I got because I think you'll really enjoy it. Now, you'll laugh at me. This is the second time I've filmed this video. Yesterday I filmed it, and I had drank 3 cups of coffee, and I was talking way too fast and probably a little bit too loud too. So as I was editing it last night, I thought, you know what, that's just not gonna do. Let's slow it down. So I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning. Let's just take some deep breaths, Lindy, and slow it down. And so anyway, take 2. So I wanted to tell you about a few things that are going on. First of all, the flowers that were growing for my son and his new bride's wedding are growing well outside. And I think I've told you before, they're not the focal flowers. They are just extras, but they're growing, and it's so exciting to see that. We got some rain here last night, and it's not quite as warm as it has been, but it's gonna warm up, and so it'll warm. As soon as that good sunshine hits them, they're gonna be flourishing, I know. But those are growing well. And then oh, the treatment room, I'm gonna put a picture in here somewhere. My home treatment room is coming along so well, and my husband hung a beautiful chandelier in there for me. We already had it, but it was in another room, so he hung that up for me. And then I made some paper peonies, and if you would ever like to see how those are done, let me know, because I'd love to do a video for you if you're interested. They are very easy to make. They're beautiful to look at. You do have to be extremely careful, though. You're not going to be able to see that. Well, yeah, you can. See that weird blister right there? And then I've got one on my pinky too. Hot glue gun. Oh my word, I'm gonna have to get a cold glue gun. That's the worst burn in the world, to get that hot glue on you and you can't get it off because it's stuck. So they're fun to make, they're beautiful to look at, but they can be dangerous with the hot glue. So I need to get a better glue gun. So anyway, I'm very pleased with how it looks. And then I'm going to have another YouTuber come in next week, and we're going to film a video, and I'm going to take her through a luxurious facial. I can't talk this morning, guys, sorry. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful video. So I think you're going to really enjoy that too. And then let's see what else. Oh yeah, on Sunday, my daughter and I visited the Charlotte Symphony Guild. They were having a brunch for new members, and we went to the Junior League of Charlotte and just had the nicest time. We met a lot of the other volunteers, a lot of the folks who are paid. The Charlotte Symphony Guild is a organization in which they raise funds for the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra. And do you like to hear orchestra music? Let me know what you like to hear down in the comments. I'd love to know. I have always loved any music. My father was a radio announcer, so I grew up in a radio station. I was making mixtapes from records when I was 8 years old, and I still have some of them too. So I mean, I was jamming out to Kiss and Heart and gosh, everybody back when I was just a little girl, and we had so much fun. Anyway, reel it in, Lindy. I'm getting off track, but what was my point? Music. So anyway, I love music, almost any kind of music, but especially live music, and especially a symphony, an orchestra, because I don't play an instrument. but my daddy did. One of my sons does. The other two took some lessons, but never finished. But there's just something about being there in person, watching a performer play an instrument that you don't know how to play, and the sound and the sensations that come through, the emotions. I love it, love it, love it. So all that to say, my daughter and I are going to become volunteers for the Charlotte Symphony, and we'll be able to go to different events and talk to people and take tickets or whatever, and then we'll be able to hear the music as well. But back in December, my oldest son and daughter and I went to a Christmas concert, and it was Sounds of Brass. And so they put on Charlotte Symphony put on a Christmas concert in which there were only brass instruments playing, plus this giant pipe organ in a church in Charlotte. That was so wonderful. It was so wonderful to hear. Do you like to hear brass instruments playing, trumpets and trombones? I think especially for Christmas music, it's so fun to hear. But the best part of that whole situation was the conductor. He's a young guy, and his name is Christopher Lees. He's the conductor in residence for the Charlotte Symphony. And I've never seen a conductor who was so interactive with the audience. So he would turn around and he would talk to the audience and tell us about different pieces and the history of them and the instruments, and it was an immersive experience. So I love somebody who's an educator at heart and who wants to not only loves music, but who also wants to tell people why things make certain sounds, or why you may have a certain emotion evoked when you hear a certain piece or a certain tone. I just geek out over that. So all that to say, he came in to the guild brunch, and he sat down with my daughter and I and some other ladies, and he talked to us a little bit about his life and about being a conductor, just a little bit. That was also neat. He was very interested in all of us, and he was a good listener. So that personality of his carried on. It's not just a persona on stage. It's real, and that was beautiful too. So anyway, I hope that doesn't bore y'all to death, but I think it's lovely when you can go take part in something like that and just immerse yourself in music, because I'm truly an appreciator of music. And let me know if you are too. I'd love to hear some of the things that you like to listen to. All right, so I've got so many fun things to show y'all today and to share with you. First of all, I'm going to put a little video in here too of me wearing this. This doesn't really fit me, but I put it on just for you to see. This is another one of those dresses that we found in the trunk of the farmhouse. And it's so interesting because, okay, first of all, here's a belt. This is called a self belt. And I've mentioned this in another video because it's the same fabric. So that's why they call them self belts. So, but it is handmade. You can see the stitches inside, and you can even see the pinking from where they cut the fabric with pinking shears. But there are 4 of these in the bag that I have of them. 4 of this same style dress. It has a little zipper on the side right here, and it's sheer. It's like a organza, I believe is the name of this fabric. I'm not sure, but it's sheer. So what they would have had to have done is wear like a slip, or more than a slip, because you'd see right through it. But you have to wear an underdress and then put this over that underdress. And I don't know a lot about fashion history, but if you know, I'd love for you to tell me if this was a popular thing back in that time period. So we're gonna say 37 and 39 are the dates that are listed on a lot of those writings and letters, but I don't even know. I'm putting these things together that these dresses belong to the letter writer Mayell, but I have no clue. I don't know that for a fact. So these dresses could be from a different time period, but I mean, you can see it hits kind of below the knee, and it's very modest and just it's pretty and flowing. And if it fit me better, I would probably wear it, but it's just a little bit too big, so I just like to put it on to show people on occasion. But again, there are four of those total. There's several florals and then a polka dot one too. So I just love how those look, and I think they're pretty and interesting to look at. Now, I think what I'm going to do next is read a sweet little letter to you. And it's dated May 1st, 1937. So here we are. I don't even know the math, but it is May 1st, 2024. So we're going to read that letter from so long ago from our mystery woman, Mayell Sunshine. She was the woman who allegedly lived in our farmhouse. And I'll put a link in the description somewhere, or maybe a card or something. I don't know. I haven't got this YouTube thing figured out yet, but I'll leave a link so you can watch the video in which I talk more about her too, if you don't know about her yet. But anyway, let's read the sweet little letter. Then we're going to open up some mail. And this says, Dear Diary, every morning, promptly at 4:35 a.m., the mockingbird who nests in the old Spanish chestnut tree beside my window awakens me with her song. I'm not sure why she chooses such an hour to start singing. Maybe she's awakened by the dream of a long-lost love and she's singing a mournful tune, or perhaps it's because hatchlings are stirring beneath her. Whatever makes her sing, it's not a bad way to be awakened. The hour, however, is awful. I like to get up at 6 a.m., not an hour and a half before. My father used to call them racket birds because they would make too much racket at all hours. I believe in other parts of the world there's another nocturnal singing bird called a nightingale. The name nightingale sounds so much prettier than mockingbird. Whatever you call it, the bird wouldn't be quiet, so I had to get up and start my day. As I padded my way into the kitchen, I noticed the fire in the old wood stove had gone out, so I had to stoke and put fresh kindling on it to get it going again. Once the stove was hot, I could warm the kettle for my morning tea. I was grateful to have some leaves from the fragrant Darjeeling tea Mrs. Honeycutt gave to me 2 weeks ago after her trip to California. As I settled down to drink my tea, I read over Mrs. Honeycutt's pamphlets from her visit. They were lectures from a man named Neville Goddard. I enjoyed his writings and ideas, although the concept was foreign, but I'm determined to learn from him. Mrs. Honeycutt says she's applied many of his principles and has found great success in many areas of her life because of them. After dressing, I gathered the milk pail so I could walk out to the barn and milk the cow. When I opened the door, I was greeted by a little basket hanging on the doorknob. I brought the basket into the house and set it down on the kitchen table so that I could examine the contents. What a thrill it was to receive such a beautiful surprise first thing in the morning, especially after waking up so early. The basket was newly made from white oak splits, and it had an unusual pattern. It was filled with lilac boughs and peony flowers. Down under the flowers, someone tucked little parcels tied with yellow ribbons. I'll tell you about every delicious one. As I carefully untied the first parcel, little lavender candies fell out. They were scented like violets and tasted like violets too. I was mesmerized by how delicious they were. The second parcel contained tiny poppy seed cookies. They had a delicious lemony flavor and were sprinkled with powdered sugar. The third and largest parcel contained a loaf of brown bread that must have been made with sorghum, as it had a distinct flavor. There were also jars of jelly and butter. The last jar contained sugar with tiny flecks of dried lavender flowers. I was thrilled to receive such a gift as this, but there was nothing to indicate who gave it to me. I hurried out to the barn to do my milking, wondering who the gift giver could be the whole time. The cow sensed my mind was not on the task and tried to slap me back into reality several times with her tail. I know she was trying to get my attention because she never does that. After my barn chores were through, I took the milk back to the house and poured it through cheesecloth because even though I was careful, I managed to get some flecks of straw in it. It's getting warm out and I wanted to make some strawberry ice cream to share with Bobby Green after church tomorrow. He works for the Belk Brothers store in Monroe, and Mrs. Honeycutt said he comes from a nice family in Virginia. Is my aim to tempt him with treats from a Carolina girl's kitchen in hopes of a proposal? We shall see. Bobby is, after all, mighty good looking and strong too, and those blue eyes of his, oh, I could get lost for days. After my morning chores, I washed up, put on my hat, and walked to Mrs. Eford's house. I wanted to ask her about that mystery basket. When I arrived at Mrs. Eford's, her darling little boy Jimmy met me at the gate. He's a tall fellow for 3 and asked me if I wanted to ride on his pony. He was using his mother's mop for a pony, but after seeing it clogged with all that dirt from his play, I think it's safe to say that it will forever be a pony. There is no way Mrs. Eford would let that filthy thing touch her pristine floors. After telling Mrs. Eford about my morning surprise, she said that she couldn't imagine who would deliver such a lovely gift as that basket. I shared some violet candies with her and Jimmy and left for Old Man Barbie's place. When I arrived at Old Man Barbie's, I found him out in the yard trying to catch a swarm of honeybees for his bee gums. I decided he probably didn't bring me that basket, and even if he did, he was too busy to talk anyway. So I returned home, deciding to ask around at church tomorrow. Diary, who could the mystery gift giver be? Was it Mrs. Honeycutt or was it Bobby Green? I hope it was Bobby. Love, Mayell. Wasn't that sweet? I just adore her letters, and I hope you do too. Okay, now it's time for the mail. This came from Mary in Texas, and I want to show you what she sent. This is a McCall's pattern, and I'd say it's probably from the early 80s, judging by the way everything looks. There's sundresses and then a little apron too, and I thought that those were so cute, so I may make one of these. We'll see. But it's a full pattern. It's never even been cut. So it has that wonderful tissue paper. So that's the first one that she sent. And then I think this one is darling. First of all, this is a Marion Martin pattern, and I believe that this was a mail order company. I think I've seen in some vintage magazines where you can send off for these patterns, and when you get it, you can't really see what it looks like, but then you open it up and the pattern picture is on the inside. So this is for another apron. I don't see a date on here. You know what? Hang on. There may be one here on the post. No, it just says New York, New York. And so there's not a date on here. It's interesting how the address is, because it says Miss A. Montgomery, Marlette, Michigan, and then it says 9229-MED. So it's interesting that it even got to their house with so little information. But this pattern is a medium size, and I want you to look at how cute that is. It's got little button details there on the apron and little flouncy sleeves. That would be really cute to make too. Okay. Now, This next one, I pretty much can guarantee I'm going to make the dress on this one. Because it's very simple. So this is a simplicity pattern. It's a learn to sew pattern, or how to sew pattern. And it is for a shift dress. And see that one right there? If any of y'all know the Lily Pulitzer story about the Lily Pulitzer shift dresses, that's the style that she created. And I love that style. It's very flattering. I mean, the Lily Pulitzer designs are fine. They're fine. They're just not my style, and so I don't typically buy them. They're very expensive too, so I don't buy them. But I'm gonna make myself a shift, and in a pattern that I like, a fabric that I like. So I'm really anxious to get down in my sewing room and get that started. Would any of y'all be interested in seeing something like that? Like me putting together, it wouldn't really be a how-to. It's difficult to film. It's not terribly difficult, but it is difficult to film a how-to sewing video. So maybe I could just film myself making it with just some of those wonderful sounds of sewing. Because if you've ever heard somebody using scissors to cut fabric on a wooden table, that's a delicious sound to me. Do you like that sound? Anyway, let me know if you'd like to see that, because I'd love to do that for you. So last but not least, this box came from all of our precious friend Auntie Angel from Angel on My Shoulder ASMR. Now, most of you are probably here from her channel because she's been so wonderful to me these last 2 months since I've had this channel, and she gives me shout outs all the time, and she's just a fantastic person. I adore her, and I'm so grateful for her because she's just she does a wonderful job on her channel. She's just a good human, and I love you, Auntie Angel. So she sent me a goodie box, and I went ahead and opened it. I couldn't wait. I had to go ahead and open it. But let me show you what she sent to me, because this is so thoughtful and so sweet. So first of all, she sent this beautiful journal. And I love to carry these in my purse because I'm always coming up with ideas. And so I'm going to put this in my bag to carry with me. But it's beautiful. Look at that color on there. It kind of has a shimmery gold effect. I forget what that's called. My great aunt used to have some paintings or pictures in her house with this shimmery effect. It was so pretty. But this is by Thomas Kincaid, the painter of light. And I love how he included the little windows, made sure you could see the light through the windows. His artwork always reminded me of the Jan Karen books, the Mitford series books. Did you read any of those? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think they came out in the mid-90s. They were set in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and I read all of them as a newlywed, and then I always wanted to go to that magical little place, and then I finally did. And Blowing Rock is a really, really neat little town if you've never been there. But anyway, that's what this reminds me of. So I love this. And is Thomas Kincaid dead? Did he die? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I don't know, but anyway, I'm grateful for this. All right, next up, look at all these cute little Q-tips. Well, I guess they're not Q-tips because that's a brand name, but they're little beauty swabs. So it's cotton swabs cinnamon roll. And it's by a company called Sanrio. And do y'all remember Sanrio Surprise? I guess that's still around. It is still around because Hello Kitty's still around. So is that the same bunch that made Hello Kitty? Do you know? If you know, let me know. But what I thought was so neat about these is they're not common Q-tip shaped. These are, the yellow ones are. But then they have pink ones that have tips. And then the blue ones look like a sucker I used to eat when I was a kid. But they all have different uses. Each shape has a different use. So you can use the blue one to dig out your ear canal, and the yellow one can be used for daily care and cleaning, and then the pointed tip can be used for makeup. So I love that. Thank you. All right. And next, oh, she did send me a beautiful card. She wrote on it, so it's a very personalized card because it says "You are loved, Angel at Angel on My Shoulder ASMR." So I love that. And let's see here. Okay. Next, isn't that beautiful? This is from Sephora. It's a crystal facial roller set. And there's a blue aquamarine, a rose quartz, and a jade in there. So that's going to be neat. I'm going to put that in my new treatment room and put it in there along with some of my crystals that I showed y'all last week. And then, this means so much to me because anytime somebody sends you something that they made with their hands, that's extra special because it takes a long time to make something like this. So she sent me this little knitted bag. I guess that's knit. It might be crochet. I don't know. Well, I know that's crochet, but I'm not sure about the bag. But anyway, this is so fun. So she sent some teas and some stickers. And I can barely smell. I know y'all can tell my nose is so stopped up. It's crazy. This is, I can smell that though. And I smelled it when it first came. It's Bavarian cream. I cannot wait to make, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go make a hot cup of tea after this video. I can't wait to drink that. It's by a company called Sloan, and they're from Canada. So, and then this one is mint verbena. And then this one is fun. This is tea for 3. And this one is blueberry rubio. So I know both of those are going to taste delicious. Can't wait to make a good cup of tea out of those. And then, last but not least, we've got some little Hello Kitty stickers. We can always use another little sticker. So much fun. I love those. So thank you again so much to everybody's favorite aunt, to Auntie Angel. Well, precious friends, thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good sleep and a good rest of your day wherever you're watching from, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Y'all take care.